Oh, thank you.
As our potential last game of the day. We could go on more, as I said. So putting it this way, there are 2 teams with 2 wins, Strictly Business and Relegated Gamers. If Starboys winds up with a win here, we get bonus Smite, and we get to see Starboys, SB, and Relegated Gamers go all the way around one more time to see who winds up in the console league. If In Memory of Michael wind up with a win, though, we go home early.
And they're the team that's sitting at 2-0 right now. They're the team that's looked really, really strong. Again, this is their first matchup up against Starboys, who have been a little bit hot and cold. They looked pretty good in their first game. Took them a little bit to get that win. Then they honestly just kind of get dominated by Strictly Business. So we'll have to wait and see. Remember, this In Memory of Michael team did beat that Strictly Business roster that really took it to Starboys. So we'll have to wait and see if Starboys kind of bounce back and put their better foot forward.
You know, if I'm Starboys, I don't ban Terra. I ban Sobek. Delny has won the games.
Yeah, no, like, you're actually right.
I ban Sobek.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. Maybe you take Sobek because remember, Fiercest Nude has played Sobek every game so far. Maybe they're the ones trying to get that Sobek, but you're not going to first pick it. No chance that's happening. Sun Wukong here. So the question is, does Michael not only get that for themselves, but take it away from that Newt? Like, you're gonna have to make a choice here. And
yeah, absolutely, right away. Absolutely. No Reptile for the Amphibian. Give Sobek over to Delny.
Yeah, smart. Well, aren't crocodiles also technically amphibians?
No, crocodiles are reptiles.
But they live, like, they spend all their time in the water.
Also, Sobek's an alligator.
Okay, they're the same animal.
Saltwater, freshwater. Whoa, you are offending many people.
Really? How many people are actually offended right now? Probably a lot. It's Twitch chat.
Production tells me right now that they're offended as well.
Tyler can hold that out. I'm not worried about it.
Soul will be a choice for Starboys. I think we're going to see that on Cameron. He's got a very, very good soul, kind of known for it in the scene as well. Thoth, especially with Thoth, that's going to be solidified into the mid lane hands, and I think that's a good pick. But the Vulcan for In Memory of Michael.
Again, it's been Thoth and Vulcan are the 2 mid lane picks, and if your name's Baronic, Giannis as well. Those have been the 3 mages we've seen basically all day long. It was a Kernos in one of the mids for Baronic as well. But these are the 2 that seem to be really popular on the console side right now.
And they're certainly working it out. The Thoth guy has been out of control. For Starboys here, we're looking at Mythic. He had a good showing on it as well. I think everybody that played Thoth, win or lose, wound up looking good on the Thoth.
Yeah, everyone's had their moments across the mid lanes. I mean, Panda Mid has looked pretty good on the Thoth. As you mentioned, Crimson, Mythic, everyone who's played it has had moments of looking good, but also had moments where they kind of dropped the ball. That's been the real difference maker for me, at least, between these teams that look really good and like Strictly Business, who's basically in as long as there aren't any tiebreakers here. Baronic has looked like the best mid laner in the Relegations.
Without a doubt.
And it isn't even close right now.
It's the same story for me with the solo lane and Delny. I think Delny has just ran the solo lane. Nobody can hold a candle to him, which is why I said, I mean, Starboys, I think they should have banned it, but we got Reptile versus Reptile. Kuzin Bro being picked by Starboys. What now? Holy cow.
I'm still not convinced that they aren't at least, like, they have to be amphibians, right? They're, like, they spend a lot of time in the water.
No, turtle is a reptile.
But they swim all the time. Like,
turtle is a dinosaur, actually. Turtles are one of the oldest living creatures that have been on this planet.
Man, the biology lessons just don't stop here today during Relegations.
Listen, I'm an animal guy. I really like my animals. It doesn't stop at dogs.
Hey, that's an elephant.
Yeah, Ganesh, he's going to be chosen as well.
That's not a reptile.
No, not at all. It's a mammal.
Yeah, it is a mammal.
You know how you can tell they're mammals?
How's that, Tom?
They're warm-blooded. We're going to get into this one in memory of Michael trying to get the win here. Should they win, they make themselves into the SMITE Console League. Starboys, with their back up against the wall, need to win to stretch this one out into extra SMITE. Relegated Gamers, otherwise known as In Memory of Michael, I think they're considered the top card here, Ryan. I
mean, they're the only team that's sitting at 2-0 right now going into their final game. They've got a chance to go 3-0. Apparently, the Fiercest Newt only plays reptiles/amphibians.
You know, have you ever heard the thought process?
Oh, boy.
That there are an elite group of people that run the world called reptilians? Do you think the Fiercest
There is no way I am engaging in this. There's just no way. I'm not doing it. I'm going to cut you off right there. I want to talk about something, anything other than that.
Do you think the Fiercest
Shell the pickup here?
Minions have spawned.
we both can't mute at the same time, then everyone knows that we're both laughing.
Shell's an interesting pickup in the early game. It's interesting because it's basically better than Med early, because Med is just trash early. We haven't seen much meditation, but as the game gets later and later, meditation kind of is a strong choice.
The problem is that meditation gets affected by the anti-heal, though, whereas Shell, you can upgrade it, and then you've got those block stacks. Crimson taking a lot of damage there and clearing the wave at the same time. I was talking about this when it came to the dodge.
I was just going to mention that.
Lack of matchup knowledge might come in, and look at this. I love this by Inbound, recognizing that Cameron's done this all day long. He steals the red buff away and pokes Cameron down to below half HP. He is going to be so far behind now in farm. That duo lane is honestly close to being like a real problem for Starboys now, because if Keji can just push that lead, all of a sudden Cameron's useless in the mid game because he's honestly that far behind right now.
Matchup knowledge so important. Here we're talking about the lack of matchup knowledge for the character. Daji threw a couple of people for a loop. You saw beads being burned before the actual timing. Here, the Vulcan gets bodied by the Kuzenbo nice and early because not a lot of people are familiar with Kuzenbo at a competitive level. And then on the flip side, the actual advantage of having matchup knowledge by way of the player. Talking about what Cameron has done all day. Inbone took notes, did the homework, brought it to school. That's why Memory of Michael are up 2-0, because they have that knowledge of their opposition.
Very, very smart. Luckily for Cameron, he did manage to steal away that final purple buff hit, so he hit level 2 off of that wave. Honestly, otherwise, he would probably still be at level 1, whereas Keji's sitting at level 3, soon to be hitting level 4 off of his own buff. So Cameron does manage to salvage it a little bit through through some just luck there.
I can't deal with it. Hey!
I know. This is going to be tough. This is going to be a rough one for us because, and I don't kid whenever I say that F.Dot and I literally just laugh about Kuzenbo on a daily basis.
We had a meeting earlier in the last week, and after that we went out to lunch, and Toli left, and me and Agro sat there for about 15 minutes after the fact, literally just talking about Kuzenbo.
I think this god has incredible potential at a pro level play.
Yeah, as do I.
It's more so solo in my mind than in support, but
look at that.
Can be really, really potent in a lot of different areas. Shell probably not necessary there out of Newt, but just being more safe than sorry, I suppose. This is a god that can make hunters and mid laners just not want to play the game anymore.
The Thor lands down on the left side, bringing damage where it was already brought.
Great
nice silence to stop out the Berserker's barrage right there.
Really, really good, well-timed there by Inbound, and it's what you've come to expect. He's had a pretty good day so far. All of it, Memory of Michael really has, but for the most part, this has been a big effort by Delny and by Jumpa as well. Keji has looked very, very strong throughout all these games. Just about everybody, as I mentioned, on this roster has looked good at times, but keep your eye on Keji and Delny in particular as the two to really try and make their mark on this game.
Yeah, these are the guys that have really been doing work all day. Delny has been, I think, maybe one of the most impressive players in all of relegation, honestly. Delny and Baronic are the two absolute standouts in my mind.
I agree with you there. I mean, Baronic, we've talked so much about. His Giannis play was phenomenal. Dealing top damage in his game as long as that last one was, as Giannis, is not an easy feat to accomplish. As many people get frustrated with Giannis' Unstable Vortex, it is not a reliable ability nor ability that hits really hard until the later stages. And Baronic was top damage throughout most of that game, so that was very, very impressive. And Delny, I mean, he, in my mind, is the reason that a Memory of Michael's 2-0.
Anyone tried to get out by way of the hammer, but it was interrupted, so he wasn't able to teleport to it. Slowed down, flipped up, and he's going to be put in the ground by Jumpa, again served up by Delny.
And what do you know? I mean, it's just a perfect circumstance there where he plucks him as soon as he walks on the first part of the Ganesh ultimate, so he's slowed, takes damage, his protections are stripped, and then he gets Charge Parade right back onto the other end of the Dharmic Pillars and gets hit with that last bit of burst damage. A little bit of luck or a little bit of skill, doesn't really matter. That was a lot of damage.
Yeah, that one straight up skill. That was definitely understood. I'm still not convinced that Delny used the immunity frames of the pluck to survive that last shot we were talking games ago.
Yeah.
I don't know about that one, Delny, but right there, that's absolutely understanding the synergy between these two picks in this composition. You pick the Ganesh and the Sobek to force the player through, the lightning wall or whatever you want to call it, the laser beams.
I call them the Dharmic Pillars.
I mean, you call everything, man. I can't wait till you have to cast like an Artemis, and you're sitting there, you know, what is it? Transgressor's Fate, Vengeful Assault,
Suppress the Insolent, and of course the
Caledonian Boar.
Of course, how could you forget that?
I mean, Caledonian Boar is the fan bearer of Smite. It's just one of those guys that you have to go with the proper presentation.
Otherwise, it just doesn't feel quite as impactful.
Caledonian Boar!
I don't think I've ever said it like that, and really don't intend to ever say it like that.
Well, you don't say anything like that. You don't have that much.
That much
gusto.
What? Ah, that's the word you were going to use.
Gusto.
Got it. Not the word I would have chosen.
Oh, yeah? What was that?
Sobek's in the solo lane this game, and again, going for this Vampiric Shroud start. This is exactly what Delny has seen every game. He's behind in levels. He's behind in gold. He's behind in terms of rotation ability because he's going to get out cleared. But he's playing for that mid to late stage. Being down 500 gold in 2 levels right now, probably would like to see him be at least within 1 level. But unless the jungler is coming over to that side of the map consistently to help secure your blue buff and the fire elementals, this is about how much XP you can expect to be down. The fact is Delny's not dying in this matchup. He's not getting poked out too much either. He's going back to base on his terms instead of being forced back to miss even more farm. And that's what you have to do in these solo lane matchups. Sun Wukong is phenomenal at punishing other warriors who want to try and box with you but just can't keep up with how much damage and poke Sun Wukong can do. But a solo laner like Sobek, who doesn't really care about trading with you, he doesn't care about getting poked out. He's not there to fight you.
He heals up a little bit, pops some potions. You know, it's interesting. I was sitting in chat, and a lot of people were asking, like, you know, what changed about the meta? What did I miss? Why is there so many Sobek solos? And I think you can sort of point to a Vamp Shroud change that happened a long time ago, but really it's just the sense that the players that you're seeing today are Sobek players.
That's true too. I mean, it's definitely a combination of both. It usually does take some time for a group of players. Hold that thought actually as Thor came crashing down and got the beads out of Erupt Crimson there in the mid lane. It usually takes some time for these players to find what they feel comfortable with, and these changes that seem very good on paper, it just takes them a little bit of time to get used to them and try and apply them on a pro level. And I think that something like Vampiric Shroud on Guardian solo is one thing that a lot of people were talking about. Yeah, that might be pretty good, but we're now seeing the fruits of it actually being applied, and clearly Delny's been killing it with it.
Right now, Fiercest Newt just throwing his Kappa around over there on the left-hand side, trying to do what he can. He's got to keep up in farm, though, right now, same level, but falling behind a little bit gold-wise. Oracle's going to be picked up by Memory of Michael. Pretty much no problem. Although Thoth tries to help, but he's going to be in trouble. The silence is big because he can't dash. Force the beads, and there's the turnaround stun. Wonderful, but not going to be enough. Jumpa fixes that face.
Still can't get away from the Robin. Newt going into that watery grave, trying to disrupt Keji. Pushes him back into Cameron, but that might have baited Cameron into a bad spot. Anyone's just trying to clean up this kill onto inbound, and he will do so successfully. But Cameron wanting to fight continually, even without a lot of mana.
Oh, the Kappa, he's going to slow him, but Cameron can't catch up either. The launch way too far behind. Cameron walks away from that easily.
Anyone still wanting to go for it here.
Play.
Decides to use the hammer as the escape route instead of the damage option. Very smart. Even if he finds that kill onto Jumpa, almost certainly loses his life in response because of Erupt Crimson right next to his jungler. Crimson going for this Book of Thoth start on the Vulcan. Usually we're seeing Thoths do that, but Vulcan is one that can really benefit from it. A little bit more mana dependent in the early game than a lot of the other mages who want to start with this Book of Thoth, but can still make it work.
I think every mage can go the Book of Thoth start as long as you're willing to sort of deal with the pain of not having that mana sustain early on. It's just big power basically.
It's a lot. I mean, you're talking 60 power to start it off with that Soul Trap, and then you get that Book of Thoth finished, and you feel like you're doing mid-game damage at minute 6 or 7. The problem is that if the enemy team identifies that and tries to put pressure on you with your lack of mobility, as anyone did with that Thor dunk, just haven't seen him go back to Crimson with those purification beads on cooldown, and with him backing right now, they're not going to get a chance to before those beads are back up. So it's a good idea. It just, they didn't complete step 2. They got step 1, get the beads. You just need to come back for step 2, and they really didn't.
Fiercest Newt just kind of walking into trouble there. Narrowly escapes being collapsed on. So no big deal right there. Oh, he was warding over the wall. I didn't know what he was doing for a second.
He's going Mystical Mail again.
Now, okay, let's talk about this one more time. On the Sobek in the support role, yes, he can do a lot of damage, but he's not this bruiser. When we see Kabrakan support, when we see Qing Shen support, when we see Warrior support, your job is a hybrid. Your job is to set your team up, but also lower the kill threshold of the opposition. As a Sobek, you're not looking to lower the kill threshold of the opposition. You're just looking to set up your teammate. Flip them back, tail whip them, slow them down. That's your job. Now on the Kuzenbo, I can see a little bit more of a conversation to be talked about that hybrid power. You can lower the kill threshold as well as put them into position. Now, is Mystical Mail the itemization that you want to do that? My answer, no.
I don't think that it's the right call. Voidstone, sure. You could get away with a Voidstone. Mystical Mail is too expensive for
3,700
solo laners to go for.
Exactly.
Like, it is, they're getting significantly more farm than any Guardian will. I just think it's a little bit too greedy.
Ultimate coming out, and it's going to do a little bit, but from the backside, Cameron in trouble. Nice flank coming out from the Robin. Is it going to be enough? Anyone finds Erupt Crimson on the backside. Good play to even the score up. Starboys 2, Memory of Michael 2 as well.
Two-man stun there, but anyone silenced by inbound around the Gold Fury side. Cameron still trying to get away, pretty low on the HP pool, but nice ultimate there out of the mid lane. Thought that sets up the Thor for another kill.
And still not done just yet. Starboys continuing on. Delny just wiggling out of there, no problem. Looking for the forward jump is going to be Joltek. Hits one, but doesn't hit the second. There's the stun coming out from the Thor, and Mythic follows up with a hieroglyphic assault.
Nice kill there again, set up by that Thor, cleaned up by the Thor. It doesn't matter. Anyone is doing well right now. 3-1-1 on this Thor, but Cameron sticking around way too long. Just can't be there. You just can't be there. There's no reason to be there either. That's what really confuses me. That's an easy kill there for Keji, and that's a big one because that was a big swing of momentum in Starboy's favor, but all of a sudden now this could be a Gold Fury opportunity for In Memory of Michael. Don't know if anyone has his ultimate quite yet. It's going to be lurking.
You certainly will have at least the hammer toss. Nice pillars, and they got to toss it out there. The ultimate from Vulcan, not good enough. Memory of Michael are able to secure it, no problem.
And again, that comes down to Cameron getting picked. That just can't happen right there. There's no excuse to be there, and that means that In Memory of Michael just wrestle this lead back from Starboys they had just worked pretty hard to earn. Not only is that bad in terms of global gold, but look at the lead that Keji has now over Cameron. 700 gold, he's up a level, and he's already working on those Devourer's gauntlets. And again, Cameron seems to really like this Chronos pendant, second item on the Soul. I don't know what I don't know where this duo lane for Starboys is getting their builds, but I just think that they should probably reevaluate a lot of those. It just doesn't make any sense.
Again, you know, we're not being like pointlessly negative here. Think about what Soul does. Now there are generally there are 4 schools of thought when you're playing a mage. You're a utility mage like Giannis, so you want all the cooldown in the world to be able to amplify your ability to put out those portals. You are a assassin mage like a Freya or a Ao Kuang, so you're looking for burst damage by way of Polynomicon. You're a regular old-fashioned Kraken mage, so you're looking for just raw amount of power, or you're a basic attack mage, so you're looking for things like Demo Grip and all sorts of things like that. Soul lands somewhere between regular mage and Demo Grip mage. None of those feature cooldown because you're sort of detracting away from what you want to do.
Look, cooldown is going to be good on just about any mage. Keji gets in some trouble, but Celeburst a little bit off the mark. Nice stun there, and anyone's got to use both of his relics. Keji does fall, but getting both relics out from Thor in that situation is nearly best case scenario for him. Look, cooldown reduction on any mage, sure, sounds great. I'll take it, but not for nearly 3k gold for 80 power on a god that isn't going to be getting a lot of usage out of that CDR anyways. Stellar Burst is a sick ability. It does a ton of damage. Having as many Radiants as possible, excellent. You get a lot of sustain. You can keep your heat up easily. Disapparate, I can get away all the time, but that's just not... If you're playing Soul at a high enough level, you shouldn't need that extra cooldown of Disapparate to reposition because you should be out of there anyways.
Radiant's the one that I'll buy. Anyone? What was that? Radiant's
he was
the one
looking for anyone.
Okay. I'll buy it on Radiant. Yeah, no. I'll buy it on Radiant. The idea that you want to keep your passive up as much as possible. If Cameron comes up and says, hey, that's the thought process behind it, I go, at least I understand what you're thinking. But like I said, I think that the four schools of thought is perhaps an oversimplification, but I think it's the best conversation to really illustrate that cooldown reduction doesn't really belong on this type of mage.
Look, if you want a really expensive second item so you can feel like you're getting some bang for your buck, Book of the Dead is absolutely the call.
Spear of Dezo, and it even features cooldown reduction.
Sure, and it gives you the penetration and power that you need for less gold than, you know, for a little bit less CDR. I mean, a lot less CDR, but for penetration that you don't get from the Chronos Pendant. I mean, now Cameron's build is delayed in terms of getting pen until very late. He's got to finish off what's likely to be a Bancrofts here in that third slot, which probably should have just been in that second slot, and then he can go for Obsidian Shard, and all of a sudden Soul turns into that tower killer that really makes her a super viable pick, as well as the burst damage that she provides on top of that. It's just you're delaying your build so much. I know we've really harped on it today, but I just think that that's a really big reason why Starboys may not have been able to take some of these mid-game fights, because you've got significantly less power coming out of your Hunter than even the stacking Hu Yi at this point.
It's the combination, too, because we've repeatedly seen Starboys sort of falter in this mid-game, and it's a combination of Cameron not doing enough damage and the support not mitigating enough damage, so enemies are able to take advantage of that. Itemization is an interesting conversation, because you could make the argument that at this level, itemization is of zero importance, or is the entire game, because everybody's sort of at the same level. And I think in this game, in this matchup specifically, it is so much more than you would anticipate.
I think that itemization at a high level is
the entire game.
Nearly the most important thing in the game. It's very, very close. Itemizing properly as opposed to itemizing inefficiently is absolutely the difference in terms of so many wins and losses at this level, because everyone is going to be good mechanically.
Yeah.
Everyone is going to have good enough communication. You're going to know what to do in most situations. It's about how well can you, take what your composition does well and use that against the opposition. How well can you take what the opposition comp does well and shut that down with your itemization. It's so critical, and that's why we spend so much time talking about these builds during every single one of these casts, because even the slightest slip up in terms of, a bad build or a great buy that we highlight all the time could be the difference between a win and a loss.
I love that you said efficiently, because a lot of times it's not about what item. If you go Bancroft or Thoth, the difference between that is negligible. But it's all about the timing and the utilization of those purchases. The timing is perhaps the most important thing. No land, but you're going to have a good wall if any goes for it. But he chooses to play it safe, knowing that in memory of Michael is making the rotation. Here comes Jumpa. Nice little route.
Gets Cameron down to about 50% HP and the Aegis in exchange for the Blink. So that's a good exchange.
In anticipation of the Gold Fury.
Exactly. Now it's respawned, and Fiercest Newt's the first one in. Oracle's went Michael's way, and his fight might as well as Newt is in a lot of trouble.
Not enough damage coming out from the Thorns, but still bringing the player down low. Mythic is going to get credit for the kill, and now inbound very low. He's going to have to walk and exit out the easy way. Anyone now chasing as Delny shows up, dealing with Cameron. Big damage out of the solo Sobek. He's going to be deterred thanks to Cameron's ultimate, but wow, 50% after lurking in the waters.
Now Keji's still really healthy. Nice double tap, though, by anyone with that hammer. It's going to clean up Jumpa, so at least Starboys get one there in exchange for the two that they lost. Or excuse me, they actually got two. Crimson ended up falling in large part due to the damage that the Thorns and the Spike Shell combination on top of his ultimate. So pretty even there between Starboys and in memory of Michael.
Yeah, Fiercest Noon. I was looking at Keji, and he did a decent amount of damage, but Crimson is the one that really suffered for the Kuzenbo punchback.
And that's exactly what Kuzenbo excels at. You mentioned it in the earlier game against Kukulkan. It's brutal, because once you fire it, you can't get it back. No take back. So, and Vulcan's really the same way with that ultimate. You're guaranteed to take big damage as long as he has those cooldowns up.
And it's one of those. Well, actually, hold that thought. Joltek's in a ton of trouble. Silenced out of the burn, and he's gonna walk through the Dharmic pillars as well, and there's the death. Delny cleans it up. Meanwhile, the Nene not going to be enough as anyone cleans up Keji. Big damage coming out from the Starboys here.
Oh, this final judgment could be big, but it only hits inbound. Good damage onto him, though, and Mythic is going to be able to clean him up, but Jumpa could say the same for the Fiercest Newt. Mythic looking for the stun. Delny CC immune, but still takes that damage. Cameron's on the run, and Jumpa's going to get a double.
Somebody look at Mythic! Anybody look at Mythic! This entire team fight brought to you by the Beakman. He sat there on the outside, fired the ultimate, nobody cared. Fired the basics, nobody cared. fired the hieroglyphic assault, and nobody cared. He climbs all the way up on the player damage. He just sat there tunneling. Everybody's dead on the side of the enemy. And Starboys can take out the Gold Fury with 2 players at their leisure.
And that's what makes Thoth so difficult, is that it's so hard to actually look at a Thoth because he can deal damage from so far away that you're usually putting yourself out of position in order to make his life difficult. Mythic, that's exactly how you position a Thoth. As far away as possible to be effective and be accurate, but to make it so that the enemy team thinks, can I really hit him right now? Yeah. No, I got to be doing this over here. I got to be over here helping my other teammate, and that's perfect positioning. And you're right, Mythic makes all of that happen for his squad. Just
absolute wonderful play. I mean, it's one of those things that you start thinking about everything you said after you've been hit twice, because you don't notice it at first, right? The hieroglyphic assault comes out, nobody noticed, and then you get hit by the ult, and you go, oh, there's a Thoth guy somewhere. And you turn around, and he's all the way down the hall, and you go, all right, man, I'm going to keep killing this guy.
Can anyone get this guy? And you're like, oh, crap, anyone's on their team.
You're going to do that?
I already did.
Are you going to do that again?
I probably will.
Okay. Just so I'm aware.
Yeah, get ready for it.
I'm ready, Freddy.
Good.
I don't like this, but we're going to do it no matter what. 12-7. As we pass 21 on the clock, Starboys wrestling control of this game back. This is a pretty tight one. In memory of Michael has looked really fresh all day, and as we keep driving home, Starboys need to win.
Nice reaction time by Keji there. Got the little notification that Thor was about to dunk down and react with a dive bomb. That's a dead Hu Yi if he doesn't get that jump off, because his purification beads were down for just a little bit longer. Cameron can drop the ult, and that's going to be an eraser. So really, really quick reaction time there keeps Keji alive.
We're getting to the point where the conversation about builds, because again, it's less about we don't like these items and more about the timing is just abysmal. We're getting to the point where that conversation is still relevant, but is less relevant. Starboys now, their support finally has a couple of items online. Granted, they're not as tanky as the guy across the strip, but he's going to be able to do the job. Same as Cameron. He finished up that Bancroft, now building into some penetration by way of Obsidian Shard. Now they're going to be a little bit more powerful. And I think that's sort of why you see in memory of Michael own the entire early game. Own the entire where we were at until that last team fight.
I mean, it helps, but honestly, it's as I mentioned, it's about the curve. You still feel the effects of building these items in these spots. Cameron, if he goes Bancroft's talent into Obsidian Shard, he's already working on what's probably a Rod of Tahuti instead of sitting on an uncompleted Obsidian Shard here. If Fiercest Newt doesn't go for Mystical Mail, he's probably got almost his 3rd item completed.
What is he doing? Joltek just in the middle of everybody. No reason for him to be proxy farming a wave at 23 minutes by his lonesome. He's on Wukong, so he gets out. But I don't understand the mentality.
Just trying to get as efficient as possible. That has brought Keji over to this right-hand side, and Cameron's able to get that tier 1 on the left because of it. But
there you go.
Memory of Michael's trying to get this Portal Demon in response. It gets really low and secured, even past the Kuzenbo ultimate.
There's going to be damage from Delny, taking down the mid lane Thoth. That time. And I think after you see Cameron just chunking through these towers.
That's what Soul does best. That's what Soul does best. And you're right, that's a really good recognition by Memory of Michael that the Thoth cannot be allowed to free cast like he was in the last team fight. So they just focus everything on a Mythic there and kill him before he could even get his beads off. Cameron gets the tier 2 in left, but in response, Michael get the tier 1 in middle and look like they want to get another tier 1 on the right-hand side. Still down in overall gold, though, because Cameron got 2K for his squad on the left between the 2 towers. Even if they get this one in right, Memory of Michael's only going to get 1,000 total.
Tier 1 tower being aggressed on here. And it falls down. 500 gold in the pocket one more time. Still down. Decent amount of gold. And that's very, very relevant at this point.
Cameron decided to try and push that mid T2, but the rotation was coming. Should be able to make it back in time. Downey can't quite sniff that out. Speaking of items that were probably purchased too early or too late, this 3rd item Warlock Sash that Downey's been going for is just... It's an interesting it's an interesting combination of both greed and safety, because he doesn't go for its second item because he feels like he needs the cooldown reduction and the physical protection from the Breastplate of Valor. But now we're sitting 25 minutes in, and he's level 19. It's time to start rotating to these team fights, and you're only sitting at 60 stacks out of the necessary 100. You're only 60% done with stacking up that item. So now you're in a tough spot. It's not as effective as it would have been if you would have built the second item before the Breastplate of Valor and been able to finish off those stacks. So Warlock Sash on Sobek isn't always the easiest thing to stack up, but if you can do so, it can be very, very effective. I just think that Delny should probably get it a little bit earlier on and understand that his laning phase is going to get that much harder without the physical defense.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, you know, when it comes, we've seen him perform at a high enough level that I think he can forgo the easy mode Breastplate of Valor.
I don't disagree with you, and I mean, even at 60 stacks, you've got so much HP and enough power from this item that it's probably worth buying.
60 stacks is good enough. I would be very worried if we were at 35, 40 stacks. Then you're having a conversation of relative gold value versus actual itemization, and you're just talking, wouldn't a knee staff just be better? But looking here, 60 stacks, you're in a good spot, or 69 stacks, you're in a good spot. But it's a lot different than when we saw the late game Warlock Sash out of the Kukulkan, who has an easy way to farm. Sobek does not excel there.
No, but he bought it early enough that he's been able to get pretty close. Now at 70%, you're not as worried. He's only about 3 to 4 waves away from finishing off those stacks, and you can weave in 2 or 3 waves fairly easily, even at this point in the game.
Big damage. Double tap brings Crimson from 100 down to about 49%. Hot damn.
That's Thor with Heartseeker for you. Heartseeker starting to make its way back into the meta. Really excels on poke characters like Thor.
And here's the Gold Fury being wrestled. Starboy's in the suplex right now. Looking to leash it. It's memory of Michael. I meant the grapple, not the suplex.
Joltek's pretty low here. Should have his ultimate available, but still has to be worried about how much burst damage he could take. There's the pluck from Delny right into Jumpa. Still not quite enough damage to bring him down.
Thor's up in the sky, and it's going to send memory of Michael on the defensive. Thor still probably wants to target, which is why Starboys are pushing up, and he landed. But doesn't really find anything worth grabbing. Joltek in the cloud.
He's dead. Anyone's completely toast here. He's got both relics, but I don't think it's going to matter. Big damage there, and Delny is going to finish him off. Mythic did a good job with that final judgment, but not good enough. Cameron will clean up Delny, but Mythic still on the run.
Delny found himself at second on the player damage after that play. Solo Sobek making an impact here. The fiercest Newt just wiggling his way out. Cameron in trouble, silenced out, but still going to find his way into the dispersion. And Cameron able to live for now. 2 players on his team dead. Delny the only one dead on memory of Michael. Looking for the Gold Fury. It's the Red Squad. And they're here, so is the Kaboom, but looks like it is memory of Michael who take out the Gold Fury.
And again, not to harp on this too much, but Cameron's sitting at a lost artifact right now. If he doesn't go for Chronos Pendant, he could probably sell Sands of Time for a completed rod, and he gets a double kill and steals the gold there. I mean, that's what we're talking about when we talk about long-term impact of itemization, even in the early stages.
And you know, that's the type of stuff that I think, you know, that's the problem here. And we see Joltek pick up the Okido kill under the tower as Inbone. I don't think this Vulcan. All right, he dies. Cameron gets the credit for the kill. I wasn't sure if it was going to be enough.
Cameron trying to back right there, and Delny not going to follow his way down that left-hand side, so he will be able to escape. Starboys get some good kills on the back end of that Gold Fury pool. Crimson inbound both fall. Keji nearly did as well. Cameron doing a lot of work, even after that fight with low HP and low mana. And he's been putting out great damage all game long, and this is what he consistently does on this Soul. Damage, it just always seems to be near the top of the player damage, and that really speaks to how comfortable he is on this character.
This is why this is sort of, you know, known as his character. And right here, nice bounce coming out from the Hou-Yi. Jumpa looks for the flank, won't get hit by the Glyphic Assault, but Thoth's going to be served up thanks to Delny, and the tail whip is strong as well. Mythic trying to find a target, but taken down by Keji.
The wall actually ended up hurting his own teammate. Delny just killed Cameron on the backside with a big burst of damage from that lurking in the waters. Fiercest Newt trying to push Delny out of the way, but it's Delny doing the pushing right back into Jumpa's waiting arms. Newt's probably going to fall here, but Jumpa may as well.
I Am Anyone takes down Jumpa. As you said, Newt does fall away to the wayside, but 3 players down while Memory of Michael taking out the objective the whole time. Anyone served up
again.
As Delney dealing with 2 different players at the same time.
Again, Delney finds the hammer throw with the tail whip. Beautiful wall that time. Probably going to get anyone out of danger.
Oh, I thought he was going to get him with the block.
Anyone just has to wait until that tail whip is used to throw the hammer. He cannot try and use it on reaction anymore because Delney's clearly read that too many times. You got to try and make an adjustment.
And that adjustment winds up, and that's the beautiful thing about what we're seeing here. If he does make that adjustment, because how much of that is instinct and just sort of muscle memory, if he does make that adjustment, then you're walking.
Yeah, then you're walking around, and then Delney could think ahead and think he's probably going to hold it next time. So now just hold it, do it on a reaction.
That's exactly what's going to happen.
There's a lot of we don't talk about the reads in creating player tendencies quite as much as maybe some fighting games that you may watch, but there's definitely aspects of that. Trying to hold, holding your CC until they try and pre-beads, but you didn't CC them, so then you got your CC for afterwards. That's a big part of SMITE that I think really gets underlooked sometimes.
Yeah, I think one of the easiest examples is Naja with the sash and then the wait. You sash in and then they beads and you go VEL and then you ult them after the beads are done. That's what we're seeing here with the play out of Delney on the Sobek. He's just anticipating that the hammer is going to be thrown. He's just looking for it, and honestly, man, just what a performance coming out from this guy today.
I think that Soul Reaver should be a pretty prioritized pickup next for one of the majors on Starboys, because Delney's building a lot of HP, so you want to get through something that can cut through that HP. Buy an Ethereal Staff and a Soul Reaver. Do something that takes away from percent HP, because look at how much that Delney has. I mean, he's got the Warlock Sash, he's got the Hide of the Urchin, he's got the Genji's Guard, all 3 of those giving pretty solid HP numbers to the Sobek. Damage enough is probably not going to cut it. You need something that can cut through this tankiness, and it's probably going to have to be percent HP based.
I thought you were going to ask for the Soul Reaver on the Sobek.
Oh, no. No, he does enough damage as it is. He'll half-health someone without Soul Reaver.
He's been doing it all game with the lurking in the water.
Does he already have a purple pot? I think he does. I mean, we're 32 minutes in. He's full build.
Yeah, he's using it.
And has a purple pot. That's absolutely crazy.
I mean, he's got 15,000. That's top net worth. He's the richest man in this game right now. Nobody even close. Nobody even in the 15,000. He's halfway through.
Yeah, it's been very impressive, and there's a reason why Memory of Michael is first picking this Sobek, and you're going to have to start seeing teams adjust to this. If Memory of Michael make it through the Pro League, you can bet that Delney is going to see some Sobek bans or some picks around them picking that Sobek for him.
And don't forget, this guy was a level and a half and 500 gold down at the beginning of the game. This is the plan every time for this guy. He just understands it.
Learning how to lose with grace is something that a lot of solo laners should really do at a top level, because it's a key component of playing the role correctly.
It absolutely is. Right now, Fiercest Newt could be in some trouble as Memory of Michael looks for the collapse, pushing him into the wall, but he's setting up for nobody. And because of that, he's setting himself up for failure. Jumpa Goomba stomps him, and down goes the Crocodile Turtle Man
Cameron's
guy.
dead. Cameron's just dead here. Look at that damage. He used both his relics way too early, and Delney takes care of him all by himself. Crimson's going to find anyone on the backside, and there's just nothing anyone could do to peel away this Sobek.
Number 2 on the player damage, number 1 on his team so far. Sobek, crushing.
He's doing it, man. And he just, I don't know what else you could say about how well Delney has played. Michael secured the first Fire Giant of the game. No chance for Mythic or Joltak to get in there and try and CC them away or steal that away even. They've been killing it all game long. Kills are even, but the last few team fights haven't really been anything but.
And it's been such such an interesting look because of how Starboys are trying to respond. They're trying to fight fire with fire, and it's just not working. At what point do they react and change their strategy?
I mean, I don't know how much differently they could play it. If I'm on Starboys, the only way you peel away Sobek ult is with player-made walls. Otherwise, you have to save your Aegis until the very end. But Starboys have been struggling with that, so I think that I'm telling anyone to sit, wait until that Sobek ult starts coming, and then wall me off from him. And that's a lot of trust to put into your teammate, but that seems to be the only way to get around it at this stage, because saving Aegises hasn't really worked out for Starboys thus far.
Nah, it's just not doing it. You're just giving
I like what Cameron is thinking, though. It's probably either going to be a Soul Reaver, or excuse me, a Stone of Fall or a Void Stone here, trying to give him some magical protection against Delny. Honestly, things such as Runic Shield against Sobek, because he doesn't build a lot of magical power, you can take away 50 of that. That's a big portion of what he's building. Runic could be solid here. As again, Soul Reaver probably necessary for the Thoth, but he's not even done with the Rod of Tahuti yet, so we're talking a long way off from being able to knock him down heavily. The game could be over well before this even Rod of Tahuti is completed.
I mean, Memory of Michael are just being gifted this tier 2 tower. I think that's the right call, aggro. No reason to defend there when the geometry is just better for the defensive team under the Phoenixes. There's just a little less room to wiggle around. The wall is going to be able to stop virtually everything. Kuzenbo can actually push people into a spot where there is no return from. I think that just defending on the Phoenixes is just the objective right choice.
And Keji has to be the focus here for anyone on this Thor, because he's never going to be able to kill this Sobek. I mean, as I mentioned, you should be trying to wall off the ultimate, but honestly, that's kind of a pipe dream. You should really just be relying on your teammates to use their relics at the right time. At this level, you should be able to just Aegis Sobek ult. That's a thing you should be able to do. And so you got to trust your teammates to do that, and then try and kill Keji, because Delny's one-shotting someone on your team every fight. That's the way it's gone so far. And that sucks, but that's not that big of a deal as long as you can one-shot someone on their team and make it a 4v4, especially if it's a big damage dealer like Keji or Crimson have been for the side of In Memory of Michael. There's no chance that IMOM can affect Delny in any way outside of walling him away from his backline, so he's got to try and make a dedicated effort to get into the enemy backline instead.
So he's got to attack the backline. Would you say he swims to it, or what would you? How do you recommend he gets to the backline, aggro?
Probably Thor ults.
You wanna dive the backline? Is that it? I think that might be it. We're gonna look at that right now. Joltek, this is a sloppy fight. They're not even looking for it. Cameron's going to get out of it and not get out of the damage. Oh, in the fountain, though, Delny made a fierce mistake, and he's going to pay for it.
That's the first time that he's missed a pluck in a while, and it really cost him there. Apparently, a fountain is a good way to cut through that amount of HP. But Delny, again, almost got the solo kill on the Cameron there because of the missed time Aegis.
If he hits the pluck, that's a dead Cameron. He looks like a superstar. Misses what could have been the maybe one of 3 that he's missed all game.
Yeah. Crimson walled off beautifully here by the Thor. Aegis a little bit late, still took a lot of damage, but Final Judgment also off the mark. Now it's Thor who's in a lot of trouble. Cameron drops the ultimate, but it barely did anything to Jumpa.
Very haphazard fight coming out from In Memory of Michael, and they're still winding up on top here, Ryan. How do you explain this level of dominance?
About 11,000 gold, that's how I explain it. And a lot of XP doesn't really matter, but power items being completed on the side of the red team as opposed to the side of the blue team. They lose their carry basically early on in this fight, and they're still able to turn it around. They end up losing Keji here off a nice double tap. Keji had both relics there. That's just a lack of respect for the damage that Thor is going to do to you.
Yeah. Just like that fight, I mean, the pillars came down and it looked like Imbone was like, guys, is anybody home? Does anybody want to fight? Am I the only guy that wants to fight?
No, Thor wants to fight. He's looking for Crimson. Good juke there, but a better wall from, or silence from inbound prevents the wall from anyone. Good stun there, but still not quite enough. And now Joltek's got to get on the run. Vulcan ultimate just barely misses.
That silence has been really powerful by Inbone.
Oh, it is so hard to play around. It really is, because even if you get around the silence, even if you have multiple members going around Ganesh who can only silence one of you with the cone, everyone in that circle around him gets 50 procs.
Yeah.
I mean, he's making everyone around him that much tankier for the duration of that easily one of the most disruptive abilities in Smite, and one that probably doesn't get enough love.
It's one of the abilities that I really like, because I think that you can use it at a low level and just sort of do the thing, or at a very high level, which is what we're seeing out of Inbone, control these fights. I think that so many more players die on the side of his team if Inbone is just a different player. His ability to really utilize the silence has been very impressive today.
Well, now it's STARB's chance to try and defend this Fire Giant. Weren't able to do it to the first one, but the right side Phoenix being down means it's fairly easy for them to defend their base and the FG at the same time, so that's their silver lining if they have one.
And it's also about that last fight was really important. Cameron served up again, goes into it, not gonna have the immunity for the Sobek ultimate. Mythic does, nice play. Now Delny dashes backwards back to the team.
And what did Delny just get? He got
Zone.
2 relics, 2 Aegises, and an ultimate there out of Cameron.
And perhaps more importantly, all of that real estate. Look how far away Starboys are. They're in the lane before they get to. They show up to Fire Giant. He's at 30%. Now, Memory and Michael are going to leash it, but.
Dunk there on Delny, trying to continue the CC chain, but this Sobek is not who you want to be focusing. He's still alive despite all of these abilities, and now Starboy's there in some trouble.
Yeah, Mythic is going to die to the hand of Jumpa. Anyone's in trouble as well. Crimson finishes him off with the old-fashioned basic attack. The fiercest Newt has to run away. Cameron doing some work here against Jumpa, who goes a little bit too far. But it's all in the name of the zone.
I like what Cameron does there. Doesn't worry about trying to hit that small targeter of the Stellar Burst before it explodes. Instead, throws it against the wall to guarantee that it's going to blow up. And it basically covers that entire area towards the bottom. Ends up making sure that he stays alive. Heads up play. And again, looking very comfortable on this soul. Now going for Stone of Fall. So now lurking in the waters. Only going to do, I believe, 40% of his total HP. Maybe 30%. But not, you know, 80% like it's been doing all game long.
It's been crushing my
Plus it gives him the CDR that he seems to really, really want.
Well, I mean, you know what? At this point of the game, I think all of our complaints about the build is over because he's 6-slotted now. And we're all, you know, so do your thing, man. 28-5 on the player damage. Do your thing, Cameron. Unfortunately for him and his fans, I feel like it's Cameron and Mythic versus the world. Anyone's had some decent plays here, but constantly finds himself a little bit too deep. And I think Joltak and Fiercest Newt just have not been coming up to par.
Oh, Cameron just gets erased by Jumpa in the back line. Blink coming up huge there. And you're right, that could be the end, or pretty close to it, as the mid Phoenix falls. Good choice here by Memory of Michael to go around and get this final Phoenix, just really ensure that this game is going to secure you your SCL spot.
Downey, can he one-shot the Titan?
He doesn't do that much damage.
Here he is trying to clean up with the rest of In Memory of Michael. Fiercest Newt gets the kill onto Jumpa, but that flip into the backfire. That's how you play the game. Anyone gets the kill. He's looking for Crimson, but the kill gets credited to Delny off of the Dharmic Pillars.
Inbound, really the one who finished him off there, but Ganesh passive prevents him from getting credit for those kills, but smart plays there. I actually really like what Anyone did, knowing that Keji's going to use his relics, landed on him and just auto-attacked, and then just waited until the relics were down. Guarantee that stun, guarantee the hammer. Problem is that they've still got 2 Phoenixes down. Left side Phoenix ends up surviving with a sliver of HP, so not all doom and gloom for Starboys, but they've got a lot of work to do if they want to win this game, because they still have 2 towers to worry about. 3 towers, actually. Both towers in the solo lane still stand. Every other one, it's tough for Starboys right now.
Yeah, and you know what you mentioned about Anyone, that goes back to our conversation about player tendencies. You know, it's not just about so many times they see this god beats that god, and you know, in ranked lobbies, like, oh, we lose because you didn't pick the direct counter. Like, it's about player tendencies. The Thor lands, and I'm gonna wait because you're conditioned. How many times you've been landed on by a Thor, you beads out the initial stun, and then use Aegis to get rid of the Berserker's barrage. Well, if he doesn't do any of that, you're just sitting there like, oh, I used my stuff, and then Thor kills you anyway. It's just understanding your opposition can win you so many more matches than understanding the tier list or what your favorite YouTuber says.
Well, now the fact that those relics are upgraded.
Except me.
Keji gonna have his relics up pretty soon, right before whatever siege. Yeah, really quick with the Wind Demon proc. Whenever he gets a crit, he can move around a little bit faster.
He's also got the speed buff.
Also helps. Doesn't hurt, actually.
I'm trying to think of a situation where it would hurt, but it doesn't.
No, it never hurts.
Maybe if you run through Dharmic Pillars so fast you don't realize you're going through a second one. It's too fast.
What am I, the Flash? Like,
definitely not.
Am I Mercury here? Am I just...
Mercury might get in trouble that way.
No, he does more damage. You can make the argument that Mercury could do more damage to himself on Thorns and Spike Shell from Kuzenbo and then die because of it, whereas speed buff without it might not have done that.
I like that one.
There you go.
See? I've brought aggro down into my hole. Look at that. The final push here from In Memory of Michael. Left side Phoenix is the only one alive for the moment. And Fiercest Newt trying to do his best. Thorns and Spike Shell is activated, so nobody looks at him the right thing to do. The back off from In Memory of Michael. Meanwhile, Delny on the backside just taking care of business.
There's no one near him. There's no one near Delny, and he just soloed Mythic in the middle of 4 people. Mythic had Aegis, probably mistimed it because that's what we've seen all game long.
I am Anyone taking care of Delny, but I think it's too little too late.
Relegations Titans getting pretty low here. Crimson has got a lot of damage on deck here as knocks up Joltak, drops the turret down as well. Joltak rooted in place. He should probably fall. Jumpo will get credit. And it looks like in memory of Michael's going to eliminate StarBoys and take them out of the SCL, taking their spot.
Titan finally being focused. Jump gets double kill as he takes out I Am Anyone. Fiercest Newt falls. And that's game. Ladies and gentlemen,
fierce enough.
Welcome to the SCL. Relegated gamers as they